And welcome, sports fans, to today's Roundtable. And today's a big day here on the Roundtable. We've got our basketball preview for both boys and girls high school basketball. So glad you joined us. It's always a big day right around Thanksgiving weekend. We always do our basketball preview to give you an in-depth look at some teams coming back this year for both boys and girls basketball. We're going to have plenty of guests in today. We've got Scott Nelson in here that's going to be in here momentarily to talk about some girls basketball that's getting underway today, and also a look at some teams coming back this year. And also we'll have Terry McVey in with us to talk about some boys basketball, and we'll talk about the Riverbend Classic that got underway yesterday in the area. And also we'll talk about teams going forward, and we're going to have some coaches call in. We'll have Travis Day of New Madrid County Central calling in with us, and we've also got Brad Botsch of Bernie, Philip Taylor of Hayti. We've got those coaches calling in today to give us an in-depth look at what their teams are bringing back this year, and we'll go over some games that we'll be broadcasting this year. Not only that, we'll have the tournament we'll be covering here in the next few weeks, so be looking forward to that in our show later on today. We've got rankings, preseason rankings out from the state of Missouri to get to just talk about where some sports writers think that some teams are going to be this year throughout the state of Missouri, and we've got some graphics to show about some area teams as well. So a lot to get to today, and glad you joined us on our basketball preview here on YHC and CMOSportZone.com. And let's start out with some games from yesterday at the Riverbend Classic in New Madrid. We had some local games, and New Madrid County Central got an opening win over Cape Central, 63-55, big opening win for the Madrid County Central Eagles. And Cape Central, a team that's really expected to do well this year in the CMO Conference, and not only that, in Class 4 in high school basketball this year. They opened up with a loss, and they might be a little slow out of the gate. They've just got their football players back from their late run and the semifinal run in high school football, so they've had a less than a week practice with those guys, so maybe that plays a role into why they started out a little slow last night. But New Madrid County Central, really impressive opening win there in that game last night. We'll talk about that momentarily, but a big win for those Eagles to kick off that Riverbend Classic yesterday. And also we have Covington, Tennessee over Scott County Central, 61-56. Scott County Central suffering a loss there last night, and they were down their best player, Lorandis Banks, who's going to be out for the first few games just with some health precautions there, but still yet, even without their best player, competed well last night against Covington, Tennessee. Scott County's another team to look out for this year. And another game, we've got Kennett over Liberty Tech, Tennessee last night, 67-63. Impressive win for those Kennett Indians. Opening up with a win, and Kavonte Mitchell had a big game last night. I believe 28 points in that contest, and he's going to be running the main force for the Kennett Indians this year, and we'll talk about those Indians and their victory last night. Impressive victory for the Indians in that Riverbend Classic. And also we have Charleston. Charleston lost to West Memphis, Arkansas, and just lost by just a few points. If you go back to that one there, Caleb, it's just you just skipped over in those scores there previously, and West Memphis just barely beat Charleston by 3 points in that contest, 50-47. And West Memphis, very good team in that Riverbend Classic this year, very big team. I think they go 6'11", 6'10", 6'8", along the front line, and Charleston competed well. Just come up a little short. They got a lot of young players moving up this year. They graduated, I think it was 5 or 6 seniors from last year's team, and they got a lot of talent on this team. But it's some young talent playing up for the first time, and they should be good by year's end. They're in Charleston to make another Class 3 run in the state tournament. So those are the games from yesterday at the Riverbend Classic, and we'll be talking about those games once we bring Terry McVey on. Talk about those games over at the Riverbend. But right now we're going to take a break and be back with Scott Nelson to talk some girls basketball getting underway and the teams coming back this year. Take a look at the girls basketball preview. We'll be back with that coming up.
I chose Three Rivers College. Caring staff made it easy to enroll, I'm receiving affordable, quality college classes. Day, evening, and online classes let me work college into my schedule.
With locations throughout Southeast Missouri and over 200 course offerings, including online courses, Three Rivers can help you earn a college or career technical degree.
I chose Three Rivers College. You should too.
Enroll today. Learn more at trcc.edu. Three Rivers College. Success starts here.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
First Midwest Bank Gold Club offers special privileges for our friends who are age 50 or better and have combined deposits of $5,000. Members enjoy trips, cruises, seminars, and picnics along with free personalized bank services. Upcoming trips include Journey Through the Holy Land, Yellowstone in winter, Classic Ireland, and Hawaiian Paradise Cruise. Stop by any First Midwest Bank location to sign up for the Gold Club. It's absolutely free. First Midwest Bank, providing common sense financial solutions every day.
And we're now on with Scott Nelson here to talk about some high school girls basketball that is getting underway, but also looking forward to another great year here in Southeast Missouri. And Scott, it's good to have you back with us.
Good to be here, Tyler. I tell you what, it seems like it was only yesterday I was sitting here in the chair beside you, and we were talking basketball, and golly, here it is again.
Yeah, exciting time over Thanksgiving weekend, and some games getting underway actually this weekend in girls basketball. So let's just talk briefly about a game that you'll be heading up to here momentarily. So what's the big game today?
Well, Dexter girls open up today with St. Joseph's Academy, and that's we did play them last year. It was in a shootout, but this is a regular season game, first game of the year. Should be a really, really good game. I think St. Joe's is ranked number 3 preseason poll. Again, they did lose probably 3 of their best players, so not sure what they've got coming back this year from the underclassmen, but it ought to be a really competitive game.
Yeah, that's certainly a tough one to open up with.
Yeah, definitely so.
No tune-ups here.
no, that's what you call jumping off the high dive.
Yeah. So St. Joseph's Academy, and very good. I think they make it out to the state championship game last year.
Yeah, they actually played Columbia Rockbridge in the Class 5 state finals last year, and we're winning that game. Rockbridge kind of turned it around there in the second half and wound up St. Joe's got second place last year in Class 5. So very always perennial powerhouse in Class 5, and it like I said, it's just Coach Allen wanted to upgrade the schedule this year, and by golly, he's done a fantastic job of doing that.
Yeah, interestingly, you mentioned Rockbridge, and Dexter's got Rockbridge on the schedule as well this year.
He did. Columbia Rockbridge, who won Class 5 state championship last year, I believe it's the 30th of December, we go back to St. Louis and meet them there to play on a neutral court. And not only are they the preseason number 1 in Class 5, they're actually number 12 in the nation right now. So got a lot of D1 signees, and they're big. So another challenge for the Lady Bearcats going up and playing Columbia Rockbridge for sure.
Sure. And a tough schedule opening up for the Dexter Lady Bearcats, and we'll bring up their graphic to take a look at what they done last year and what they'll be bringing back. Take a look at the record last year. They finished, what did they finish?
26-5, I believe.
Okay, 26-5. 26-5 as we see there.
Yeah.
Got 4th place in the Class 4 state tournament last year. Went up and had a very tough opponent there in the semifinals, Incarnate Word, who ran away with it last year, and then lost to Smithville in the 3rd place game. So they come away with 4th place. And returning some notable seniors here: Paige Patterson, Hannah Noe, Allison Gerald, Erica Cobb, among some other underclassmen who really pitched in well last year, bringing back. And talk about the girls they'll be bringing back this year.
Well, like you see there, the 4 seniors. Paige Patterson, 6'1". She has really played well over the summer in the post. And Hannah No, Erica Cobb, and Allison Gerald. All three of them can take it to the hole. All three of them can light it up from the outside. Excellent defenders. Just a fantastic group right there in those seniors, and that'll be the backbone of the team. Also coming back, we've got 3 sophomores who really played a bunch as freshmen last year. Melanie McEwen, Dakota Reynolds, and Michaela Waldner. Excellent athletes there. Michaela Waldner was the extra point kicker for our football team this year. Just very athletic girls. And they can all defend very well, can shoot from the outside, take it to the hole. And I think you might possibly see one freshman playing some varsity, Sydney Rogers, this year. So a little, not quite as deep a bench for the Lady Bearcats this year, but a very, very solid group. And they did play very well. As a matter of fact, Coach Allen told me the other day, in all the summer games and all of the activities that they did, they went undefeated over the summer and played some really good competition. So, expectations real high for the Lady Bearcats. I know in talking to the girls here in the last few weeks, they're very, very excited and really want to work hard to try to get back to the Final Four.
Yeah, and that's that's what they're working towards all year. You come down to the end of the season, it's going to be a very competitive Final Four. You got Incarnate Word. They're going to be right up there once again. They've come off an undefeated season and bring a lot of their girls back from last year.
Yeah, Incarnate Word, just to let everybody know, we, what was it, 41-point loss to them in the semifinal last year, did the Lady Bearcats. But they turned right around and beat Webb City by 41 as well. Incarnate Word, they lost about 2 or 3 seniors, but their core group of players is all back, and they're an excellent team. As a matter of fact, they are the consensus #1 preseason in the nation this year.
Wow.
So, wow. Yeah. We've got that to look forward to, hopefully, down the road.
Yeah. So, it makes it tough, but you got some teams in there that pretty good teams themselves, Webb City and Smithville from last year.
Smithville, a team that didn't make it even to the Final Four out of St. Louis, and bless their heart, they'd have to go through Incarnate Word, I think, to get there. That's MICDS. They're a very good team. But, for the Lady Bearcats, one of the harder games they're going to have to play on the road to getting back to the Final Four is against Cape Notre Dame right here in our own district.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm talking about the area teams. Here in Southeast Missouri, Cape Notre Dame's always right there in Class 4, and boy, that district championship last year with Dexter Notre Dame, they came right down to the end.
It was a dandy, and I tell you, Notre Dame did lose a very, very good senior in Miranda Fowler. She's gone on to play volleyball over at Murray State, I think, but they do bring back a lot of their junior class who are now seniors. Very quick guards who can defend well and can shoot and can take it to the basket. So, them along with, I'm not sure about what Cape Central has. I think they graduated a girl or two. Sykeston is very young in Class 4 District 1. Kennett is very young. They've got a new coach. He came up from Northeast Arkansas. I believe he's from Wiener. Yeah. And they're all excited about their new coach, and I know he's done very well down there, and so he'll get to see what Class 4 District 1 girls basketball in Missouri is all about.
Yeah, and Class 4 has always been very competitive, especially between Notre Dame and Dexter, and it looks like it's probably going to be competitive once again this year. That's one thing with Notre Dame. They might have considered by their standards a down year, but they'll always be competitive.
Well, they play a very tough schedule. A lot of St. Louis schools they play as well, and our area big schools, Poplar Bluff and Jackson, and it's they're a very, very good and competitive, well coached team. Coach Peters does a good job there.
Sure. And getting around to Southeast Missouri some more, probably one thing to definitely talk about for this year is the talent down in South Pemiscot, Carrie Shepard, the talent she's
that's
showed over the past year.
Absolutely right. Carrie Shepard just a couple weeks ago signed her national letter of intent to play for the University of Missouri. And she's just an excellent athlete, very, very quick guard. And, obviously to get recruited by Mizzou, you're something special. And look forward to seeing her name in the paper a lot with that team. And it should be a great year down there in South Bend.
Yeah, I haven't had the privilege to watch her play
she's very good.
Very good. Well,
actually, she played on the summer team with Erica Cobb Hanano this summer from Dexter, so I think they got to know her very, very well and kind of knew her already. But she's a great gal and a very good basketball player.
Yeah, I'd like to see her play this year. It's certainly something if you can have anyone locally playing at the Division I level, such as Missouri. So that's certainly a big deal.
Yeah, very good. Tyler, another team that we've not really talked about. That's going to be one that I think we're going to be hearing a lot about is Saxony Lutheran up north of Cape. Class 3 school, played majority of freshmen last year, graduated one senior, and I think they only have maybe 1 or 2 seniors this year. But I really look for Saxony in Class 3 to be very competitive, not only in their own class but against anybody they play.
Yeah, that's we kind of saw that coming. I think it was last year. They played Dexter and played them competitively last year.
Yeah, we went up and played them at Saxony last year, and I think we wound up beating them by 9 or 10. One of the closer regular season games that we had that we won, and like I say, they're going to be a little powerhouse up there. Saxony Lutheran really going to be pretty good.
Yeah, that's one team to look forward to, especially with the youth they had, and playing competitively with their youth certainly bodes well for the future for those in Saxony Lutheran. And now we're going to take a look at some state rankings for the girls that have just been released by the Missouri Basketball Coaches Association along with MoSports.com. Taking a look at those. In Class 1, we'll start out here. Walnut Grove, number 1, coming off a 30-2 season last year, followed by Chadwick, North Andrew, Norborne, Mound City, St. Elizabeth, Drexel, Wellington, Napoleon, Glasgow, and rounding out the number 10 is Naylor, just over west of us. Naylor coming off a 17-8 year, and very good program there at Naylor for a small school.
Yeah, Gene Deckard, he's a great coach. He gets the most out of his players. Doesn't matter who they are or kind of what they've done in the past. He gets those girls in there and they work hard. There for several years he just played pretty much exclusively a 1-3-1 zone, but he's really last year he kind of added a lot of different defenses and they always have a couple of shooters and they'll have a girl who plays inside, and for Class 1 he just does a great job.
Yeah, certainly a good program there at Naylor, and it looks like they're expected to do well this year, to start off there in the top 10 in Class 1 already this year. And in Class 2, taking a look, Crane at number 1, coming off a 30-3 season, followed by New Haven, Skyline, Marceline, Sturgeon, Pierce City, Crocker, Maysville, Thayer, and Gallatin. So a relative Southeast Missouri team there with Thayer. They're in the top 10 at number 9. Now in Class 3, number 1 is Lutheran St. Peter's, coming off a 28-4 season, followed by Herman, St. James, Ash Grove, Palmyra, Principia, Cameron, Saxony Lutheran, Blair Oaks, and Licking. Rounding out the top 10, as you mentioned, Saxony Lutheran 25-3 year last year, opening up at number 8 in that poll to start the season. So much expected there.
Yeah. As we talked about, just very young team and did so well last year, and bringing the majority of everybody back. So again, looking for some pretty good things out of Saxony.
Sure. And taking a look at Class 4, Incarnate Word, no surprise there, coming off the 31-0 perfect season, followed by the Dexter Lady Bearcats. They're number 2, 3 Webb City, 4 Sullivan, 5 Smithville, 6 MICDS, that's Mary Institute of Country Day Schools, 7 St. Charles, 8 Bolivar, 9 Republic, and 10 Marshfield. So Dexter right there behind the perfect Incarnate Word.
Well, the Basketball Coaches Association showing Dexter a lot of love, but Incarnate Word is right now head and shoulders above everybody else, and you could probably take those first 4 or 5 teams and put them in any rank in there, and there's a lot of good teams there in Class 4 that are on that poll. Republic is a perennial power in Class 4, and they lost a couple of their best players. Alice Heinzler was their guard that just kind of single-handedly beat us last year when we went over in West Plains and played them. But like I say, Incarnate Word right now is the pinnacle in Class 4 girls basketball right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much in the country according to what the polls are.
Yeah, they've got, you might be able to tell more about this, about the girls that they've got going playing at the next level. A couple of them's already signed to Division I schools.
Yeah, they've got their point guard. I can't remember where she's signed already. She is a senior. I know they've got an incoming freshman who's probably going to play varsity that's 6'4". Their best player is a 6'1", sort of a 3-4 player, and I apologize, Tyler. I'm getting old. Her name escapes me right now, but she's been recruited by Gino Ariema at UConn and Notre Dame, and so that's the kind of player that she is. She can pretty much do it all.
Yeah, she's got another year to play yet.
Another year to play after this. That's correct.
So certainly a well-rounded team there at Incarnate Word, to say the least. Yeah. And moving on to Class 5 and those rankings, Rockbridge there at number 1, 2 Blue Springs, 3 St. Joseph's Academy, 4 Kearney, 5 Parkway North, 6 Parkway South, 7 Nixa, 8 Hickman, 9 Truman, and 10 Ozark. So Rockbridge there at number 1 and St. Joe's. Excuse me, at number 3.
Yeah, and Tyler, Rockbridge really is the real deal at number 1. I totally agree with that ranking for them, not only because they won Class 5 last year, but they've got 6 or 7 D1 signees that are seniors. Some of them are seniors, one going to Kansas State. Got a couple girls that are juniors that have already verbal to Mizzou. They're just loaded with talent. They are they're very well coached. Got a lot of height. Got a lot of just ability all over the floor.
Sure.
So, very, very good team.
Well, Dexter, we'll
get to see how we need to improve after the 30th of December when we play them.
Yeah, you certainly can say that we've played among the best in the state. That's certainly
correct.
what you'll be able to say.
So
there won't be any excuse about lack of strength of schedules.
No, nobody will be able to say that for sure.
Right. So we'll see how that plays out. And also the Dexter girls participating in the very competitive Farmington Invitational Tournament.
Yeah, Farmington Tournament, where we've got some of our local teams. Cape Notre Dame is in it. Jackson, I believe, is in there. Jackson, a young team, but as always, well coached, and they're very disciplined. They'll play a great brand of basketball. Of course, Farmington, who is Class 4, District 2. Got the new team this year, I believe, is Roosevelt, and they got the 8 seed, so that's where we'll take off on Monday night against them at 6 o'clock.
Yep, and you see there, Roosevelt takes on Dexter there in the first round. Farmington versus Jackson. Cape Notre Dame versus Notre Dame out of St. Louis. And Miller Career Academy over DeSoto. So very competitive tournament, and I believe Miller Career, they won it the past couple of years.
Yeah, they did. They beat us in the championship game last couple of years. So our girls are really looking forward to that. Hopefully we can get to that game, and hopefully they get to the championship, and we can kind of see how that goes.
Sure.
They're looking forward to trying to get back a little bit on that deal.
Yeah, I always want to get over that hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll be seeing how that tournament plays out. Always a really good tournament to start out the girls basketball season. Scott, is there anything else to share about girls basketball in the area that we may have overlooked or want to look forward to?
Just come out and watch the girls in your town play. They're going to play hard every game, and there's a lot of good teams out here that are going to be very competitive. And today, if you don't have anything to do at 3 o'clock, turn your radio on 90.3 and listen to us broadcast the Dexter girls.
Yeah, be a good one to listen to later on today. Is that 3 o'clock, you said?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock
we'll
start.
be on there probably 1:45.
Okay, 90.3 FM on your radio dial. Listen to the Dexter Lady Bearcats take on
And I think,
St. Joseph's
Tyler,
Academy.
aren't you're going to do a game or two of the girls maybe
Yeah,
this
we've
year?
got 3 girls games we'll be broadcasting in February. We won't be able to. We won't be broadcasting until February, and I believe it's their Sykeston. These might not be in order. Sykeston, Jackson, and Poplar Bluff games.
Okay, good games.
Good games to look forward to, and they'll be here in Dexter. So you'll be able to watch the Lady Bearcats here on YHC and CMOSportZone.com come later on in February. So we'll be looking forward to that. Well, Scott, we appreciate you coming on today, sharing with us about some games to look forward to. And
You bet. Always good to be on.
some girls basketball this year. Be very exciting. You talk about the Dexter Lady Bearcats and even the Saxony Lutheran and even the Talon and Carrie Shepherd. And it's going to be a pretty exciting year in girls basketball.
It should be another great year. Looking forward to it.
Sure. We'll be looking forward to it getting underway today. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how things turn out. So appreciate you once again, Scott. Have a safe trip up to St. Louis.
Will do. Thanks, Tyler.
All right. And we're going to be back with more, so don't go away.
It's the small things in life that you tend to appreciate. The quality of care at SEMO Health Network is no different. They focus on the small details with healthcare that make you feel good, so you can get back to enjoying the small things in no time. They have so many ways to take care of you with 8 locations serving rural communities in need of medical care, including dental facilities and an in-house laboratory.
You'll feel good about this. SEMO Health Network.
And now we're along with Terry McVey, one of our sports contributors here at YHC and CMOSportZone.com. And Terry, it's Thanksgiving weekend. That means it's time for some basketball.
It's like when they break for spring training and head north. Last week in November, it's time for basketball to start, and I love it every year.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun year. It was a fun year last year. A lot of good basketball to watch last year. Won't be any different this year. And got a little taste of the Riverbend Classic yesterday. Local teams competing, and teams did quite well to start off the season.
Well, I start off with New Madrid Central, who's the 8th seed in the SEMO Conference Tournament, and they beat Cape Central. And Kennett starts out well, beating Liberty Tech. Charleston gets beat by 3 by West Memphis. A good West Memphis team, and I believe Scott Central lost by a couple, but Kennett plays Scott Central this afternoon. Riverbend Classic's always good. It's always just a really good tournament, and it showcases not only the teams from Southeast Missouri, but also teams from Tennessee and Arkansas, and it's always a good field, and it's a good way to start the season.
Certainly. And some teams that did well last night that really started out well in the Nevada County Central. You mentioned beating Cape Central. Cape Central is one of those teams to really look out for this year in Class 4.
Cape Central, we saw them last year in the district final in Class 4 against Sykeston, and they had some good young players. I was impressed by a couple of freshmen they had last year, and of course they have Cox in the middle, who's going to be a big presence, but appears like the player's going to be Stanton, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was good last year, and he was your leading scorer last night, and I think he might be the player for Cape. Cape's going to be good.
Yeah. By year's end, there'll be certainly a team looking to make a run there in that Class 4. Now, Class 4 is going to be really competitive this year. You talk about Cape, and Sykeston's going to be right there. Notre Dame and
Kennett.
Even Kennett's going to be in there once again. So Kennett got a nice win last night over
beat Liberty Tech. Liberty Tech, Tennessee, which is a magnet school from Jackson. Kennett, of course, has Cavante Mitchell, who's one of the better players in the region. He was All-State last year as a junior, averaged about 24. Last night he goes 28 and 11. I think he's a legitimate D1 player, and he's amongst the talk of the best in Southeast Missouri and one of the better players in the state.
Certainly.
Kennett's going to have some problem underneath with size. That's really nothing new for Kennett. Although we did have Primer last year, who was a very good center and was a very key part of the team. One guy I think you can look for this year is going to make really going to help underneath Maturian Jones, who was a spot player last year, but looked pretty good in those spots. And I think he had 15 last night against a pretty good team underneath. So, of course, then they got Akeem Nelson and Carruthers out front, and Drake. And so the quickness we got Kennett has covered.
Yeah.
The size and the scoring ability with Mitchell, Kennett pretty well has covered. It's going to be the size that's going to be of concern.
They'll be able to hold their own in most instances, but you get in that CMO conference, that's when it really gets tough. You're going up against Jamal Cox around 6'6", and some other teams that's got some size.
Jackson's got some size.
Yeah, Jackson.
And I don't know that Sykeston has a whole lot of size, but they're always they may not be tall, but they're usually wide, and they're physical, and that's what Sykeston's always going to bring. And of course, Sykeston's going to be really, really good again. They lose Ruffin, who was I think Southeast Missouri Player of the Year last year, but they have J.T. Jones back, and then their JV teams have won something like 250 games in a row or something. Yeah. I know that's an exaggeration, but and they may have even lost a couple of games last year. But the last few years, they just reload, and they have a program there and a system that works.
Certainly.
And Sykeston's going to be very, very good, and that's why they're number one seed in the CMO Conference tournament.
Certainly. Yeah. And let's take a look at those Riverbank Classic games. Got underway yesterday as we gave you the scores early on. Got some more games today to look forward to in that Riverbank Classic starting this afternoon at 2 o'clock over at Nevada County Central High School. And games to look forward to today, Scott County Central versus Kennett this afternoon at 2. 3:30, Liberty Tech of Tennessee taking on Nevada County Central. At 5 o'clock, Covington, Tennessee versus Charleston. And at 6:30, West Memphis, Arkansas, taking on Cape Central. So those are the games to look forward to this afternoon, and some good ones there, especially to start off with, Scott County Central versus Kennett.
I'm looking forward to seeing that game. I'm going to run over and see that game once we finish. Of course, Scott Central doesn't have Banks right now, but they're always going to be good. I mean, Scott Central they have the tradition, and they have the history, and that helps so much when you have kids that grow up in that tradition and in that atmosphere that they're going to be good at basketball. It's like Charleston. They grow up in that atmosphere that basketball is the cool thing to do, and we're going to be good at basketball. And I think that's great, and that's what they have at Scott Central and places like Charleston, and now Sykeston's getting there.
Certainly, and you could say that about many schools around there. That's
what Bernie. You go Bernie. There's lots of schools that have that. Kennett's starting to get there. and a lot of that and to get that, one of the things you have to have, I think, and that these schools have is continuity on the bench. It doesn't have to be exactly the same coach, but it has to be somebody who continues the system, who continues the atmosphere, and those teams that are don't rebuild but reload are teams that have continuity on the bench, and that's what a lot of these programs are getting.
Certainly. And we're going to talk more about these teams, but just give you a look at what some teams are expected to do statewide. We're going to look at some state rankings that were released by Missouri Basketball Coaches Association along with MoSports.com. For the boys in Class 1, South Iron coming off a 23-6 record. They're at number 1 to start off. 2, Scott County Central right behind with a 16-14 record and quarterfinalists in the state tournament last year. 3, Medville. 4, Fair Play. 6, Stanberry. 6, Eminence, who were the defending Class 1 state champions. 7, Leeton. 8, Max Creek. 9, Ridgeway. And 10, Glasgow. So, Eminence and Scott County Central had a great game last year in the quarterfinals. And Scott County Central, that record's kind of misleading there. They played quite a few good teams there and right around 500 last year. But they had a team that could have won it last year. But Eminence really stepped up, played some big games, and won it last year.
Eminence is a good team. South Iron, I think, has already won a tournament. They had a tournament, I believe, up around Clearwater, but I believe South Iron's already won a tournament. And they've been a good program for several years in Class 1. But Scott County Central is the class program of the state in Class 1.
Yeah, and it looks like from what I've seen over the summer when they played, I think they're the team to beat.
They're so quick and they play such hard defense. When you play a really good defense and you play a good swarming defense, you're not going to have a whole lot of off nights. I mean, even if offensively you may have some offensive off nights. If you're a good defensive team, you're not going to have a whole lot of defensive off nights, and that's what makes them so good, and what has made them so good over the years.
Yeah, and Lorandus Banks won't be able to play the first few games. They're taking a few health precautions with him. He had kind of a scare, but they made some tests, but they're expecting him to be back after a few games to start the season, and it actually speaks well then to play competitively like they did last night without him, because he's going to make up a bulk of their scoring.
Right, but again, when you play defense like they play, you can get by without the big offensive player, kind of like Charleston did last year after Hull went out. Hull was their go-to scoring guy. Mm-hmm. He goes out, and Charleston ends up third in the state. Because Charleston plays defense.
Yeah.
And you can make up for it. And, of course, they had other guys step up, but he was their leading scorer. He was their go-to guy to score. And he goes out with an injury for the year, and they make up for it.
Yeah, certainly a collective unit there. And speaking of Scott County Central, they're going to have Jeffrey Porter's coming back only as a sophomore, but he's going to play a big-time role for Scott County Central. And then you got the Blissett boys. You got I think it's Cameron and Kendall. If I got that right, Cameron might be on a different, or hopefully I got. There's a Blissett on Sykeston too. I'm getting.
Well, when you get the Blissetts and the Porters, if you got somebody named Blissett and you got somebody and a couple of Blissetts and a Porter on the team, you're going to have a good team.
Yeah.
And there's always seems to be a Blissett and a Porter on Scott Central, but that's good lineage.
Yeah, certainly is. So Scott County Central are going to be very good once again this year. Now going up to Class 2 for those state rankings, starting out with West Platte at number 1, coming off a 30-1 season. Number 2, Salisbury. 3, Iberia. 4, Canton. 5, northeast of Cairo. 6, Father Tilton Catholic. 7, Gainesville. 8, Ellsbury. 9, Cole Camp. And 10, Crane. So no top 10 teams from southeast Missouri, but I think it won't be long. We might see some teams there cracking that top 10.
Bernie will be there. I think Bernie's going to be there.
Bernie,
in Class 2.
Bernie had a good run last year, dropped out in the sectional round in the state tournament, and what a competitive year it was there in that Class 2 last year. And it's going to be the same, looks like, this year.
Oram may be there too. They're Class 2, and they made it to the Final Four last year, and they're going to be good again this year. So I expect it won't be long till both Bernie and Oran are in that top 10.
Yeah, maybe a few other teams we'll talk about here in just a moment. And Class 3, let's move up to Class 3. And West Platte at number 1 coming off, or excuse me, it's Mountain View Liberty coming off.
That's football.
Yeah, it's football. We're looking at the wrong one there. Can you go just to the next one? Okay. Maplewood Richmond Heights at 23-5, number 1. 2, Stratford. 3, Mountain View Liberty. 4, Hartville. 5, Charleston. 6, Higginsville. 7, Lutheran North. 8, St. James. 9, Cuba. And 10, Eugene. And Maplewood Richmond Heights been amongst some of the best teams over the past few years.
Of course, that's Charleston lineage too.
Yeah. Corey Frazier.
Frazier's
coaching that team, and they look just like an old Charleston team. They do the same old warm ups. They do the same.
You look over, you think you're going to look across the court and see Linus McFerrin sitting there.
Yeah. And Charleston right there at number 5. So Charleston off a 27-4 year. They lost some key players last year, but they got some young talent moving up. They might take some bumps in the season earlier on, but I think by the year's end, they're going to be right there in the mix.
Well, again, they play defense. They pretty well reload every year. I think one of the big losses they had was Ryan Parham, who was their point guard for about 6 or 7 years, it seemed like. Because he was their starting point guard when he was a freshman, so he was for 4 years, and really when it came crunch time, Parham was the guy that kind of put the team on his back at times. But Delfinco Bogan, I believe, is running the point now, and he was good last year, and he's just going to get better this year. And so Charleston's going to be good. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Certainly. And moving up to Class 4, we've got Republic there at number 1, coming off a 28-4 year. 2, Sykeston right there behind, finished 27-3 and third in the state. 3, Duchesne. 4, Grandview. 5, Lafayette of St. Joseph. Normandy Center, Jeff City Helias, Hillcrest, and Park Hills Central. So Park Hills gets into the top 10. They lost to Sykeston in the sectionals last year. But Sykeston faced Normandy last year in those semifinals and lost a heartbreaker there at the very end. And they had to play in the third-place game. Got a win there in the third-place game. But Sykeston could have very well had a state championship last year. It was very close with a chance to go play Republic in that championship game. So they're going to be hungry once again this year. Lost some players. Sean Ruffin, as you mentioned previously, that's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
But they got J.T. Jones coming back. He does a little bit of everything for them. So they're going to have some pieces together to make another run.
Oh, yeah. Syson's going to be good. And they've got a system in place, and they've got a program that they're going to be a very good team. They're always going to be a good team. Again, they play defense.
Yeah. And Greg Hallfield always has them in a position to win.
He
always has them in the right place at the right time, it seems like. So they're going to be right there and pretty competitive once again this year. And taking a look at Class 5, number 1, we have Hickman. 2, Blue Springs South. 3, Chaminade. 4, Kickapoo. 5, Christian Brothers College. 6, Lee Summit West. 7, Webster Groves. 8, Ladue. 9, Jackson. And 10, Waynesville. And Jackson coming off a 19-11 year, and that's a team that really opened some eyes last year. Made a run there in Class 5. I think they make it out to the quarterfinals, and they were just a win away from the Final Four last year.
Jackson's may be one of the best teams in Southeast Missouri. If they're not, you think between them and Sykeston maybe right now, might be the 2 best teams in Southeast Missouri. But Jackson's a very good team, and there hadn't been a whole lot of good teams from Southeast Missouri in Class 5 since the Hansbrough days in Poplar Bluff. But that's changing. I think Jackson's good. Poplar Bluff's going to be a better team. They improved last year under William Durden, and I think they're going to improve again this year. They've got a 6'7.5" kid that's everybody's been waiting to explode since he was a freshman, Stacey Gibson, and this is probably going to be his year. And they've got some other good players on that team. So Poplar Bluff's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
But Jackson, I think, is the class of Class 5.
Well, you talk about a competitive district there in that Class 5. I mean, there's Bluff and Jackson here, and I think there's 4 or 5 other schools in that district, and they're all in St. Louis area.
Right, in the South St. Louis area. And so
Yeah.
it's very competitive.
Yeah, very competitive. And they made a nice run. They won their district. Weren't really expected to win their district, but then won sectionals. And kind of an upset victory there, and fell in the quarterfinals. But certainly a big year for Jackson, and they're looking to
I believe they're the 2 seed in the SEMO Conference tournament behind Sykeston. So that tournament's so loaded.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's when you got New Madrid, who's a pretty good team, as they showed last night, seeded number 8 out of 8 teams. That's a loaded tournament. That's one of those tournaments you could be a good team, play 2 very good games, come out 0-2.
Yeah.
And that's how good that tournament is.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be coming up in a few weeks, and certainly a big tournament to look forward to each year. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to try to get some coaches to talk to over the line, so stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Okay, you're hooked up and ready to go.
New Wave knows you're excited about sports, so now's a great time to get connected with the Triple Play Package. Crystal clear TV, high-speed internet, and telephone for only $99.99 a month for 12 months. With New Wave Communications, you've got game. In addition to unlimited calling, New Wave telephone users have a wide range of great phone features available. And now with the help of New Wave Internet, they're even easier to use thanks to our convenient online phone manager. Just log on to your MyWave portal. Now phone features like call forwarding can be set up instantly from any computer. Reliably activate or deactivate your call forwarding. And even set your home phone to ring once when a call is forwarded. Home telephone service made even better with New Wave Communications. Call today.
And we're back, and now we're along with Bernie basketball coach Brad Botsch, and we've got him over the phone. And he's on the way to the lake. He's getting one last vacation in before he gets underway with the season. And Brad, it's good to have you with us.
That's good to be here.
Good. And Brad, we've been talking about some teams in the area, and we're looking at Class 1, Class 2, and it seems like your teams are always in the mix each year. And you had a great season last year, making it into the state tournament, and you're looking to reload and bring some new boys up this year to strengthen your team. And just talk briefly about what you expect from your team and some kids coming up.
We kind of always go in with not ever capping expectations. I think that's a mistake sometimes maybe people make, is to set goals, and I don't think sometimes it's high enough. We want to set our goals at the top, and we want to go in and try to compete for state championship every year, even if that may not happen. That's our goal. So, early on in the season, we want to get our guys some good reps and instill a good work ethic and go from there. But so far, I've been pretty pleased with our kids and their efforts in practice, and we'll be ready to get it going next week.
Yeah, and Brad, it was kind of a gauntlet last year in Class 2. Who was going to be able to come out of that? And you were the fortunate team to come out of that, and fortunately got a loss there in the sectional round after that. So you got to be feeling good about the boys that carried you through that last year, through that gauntlet, to come back and kind of lead the way once again this year.
Yeah, we've got a lot of the returning players. It's going to be hard to replace, the seniors we lost last year, but we've got a lot of kids that have stepped in and going to fill in nicely. We've got some good juniors stepping up, and then all our returning seniors that we've got, 7 seniors and 7 juniors, and we like our chances, but I'm sure a lot of other teams do too, and we've got to take things one game at a time and never look over anybody, and I think if we approach things that way, we'll be okay.
And, Brad, we spoke briefly about some kids that are coming up. Of course, you've had some really good JV teams over the years past, so those kids are starting to work their way up into the varsity level, and I know you're going to be looking forward to those kids stepping up. So just give us, some look about some players that you think is going to be playing some good minutes on the varsity level this year.
Yeah, we may have one of the deepest teams we've had. Right now, I think we can play 10, but, we generally won't play quite that many. But I think there's a possibility of that. And we've got one injury, so it would be 11. Troy Kirkpatrick's still out with a knee injury. And, we still don't know his status yet. It's going to be a little bit for him. So, that's a little bit of a blow. Troy's one of those kids that can get hot and carry you. But, we've got, Caleb Ellenberg coming up off the JV. He's got great touch around the basket, left-handed. He's a real scorer. And, we've got several other guards coming up off the JV, I think, from last year that'll help us. And, Coach Long does such a good job with our junior high and JV kids that when they get to the varsity level, they're ready. And, we just kind of roll with it. So, and then varsity-wise, we've got, we've got B.J. Jennings and Jacob Wagner, and, they're probably two of the main guards. And then we've got Joey Walker, who's 6'3", 255 pounds, and he really does a great job interior on the interior defense for us. And there's several other pieces there. And I think if our guys will be coachable and look at things the right way and always remember to stay fundamental, because that's how we have to play. We can't play any way but fundamental basketball. Very disciplined. And if they can remember that, then, I think we can compete most every game we play.
Coach, this is Terry McVey. With Kirkpatrick being sidelined, of course, he's one of the better shooters in Southeast Missouri. Who are you going to be looking for fill up that the three-point shooting right early in the season?
Well, I think Jennings is shooting the ball well. I think Wagner's shooting the ball well. I think Brandon Sparks is shooting the ball well from outside. And of course, I'm terrible sometimes. I forget different ones because we got so many. But I think we've got other guys that can step up and make the outside shot. And plus, even Ellenberg can step out there and hit that. I'm pretty confident that we'll find a way to score. I don't think it's our biggest strength. I think defense by the end of the year is going to be our biggest strength. But we've got some guys that pretty hard nosed and show a lot of guts most of the time, and we're going to make sure they play hard. And that's the other thing about depth is nobody can get complacent, because if they do, they're gonna get to sit and watch while the others are out there competing. And depth sometimes is especially it could be a problem at times, because depending on the demeanor of the kids. But that's something we really try to pay attention to, and we preach team chemistry and put the team before yourself. And if they'll always do that, then we're going to be in the right frame of mind come game time.
Yeah, Brad, you may have mentioned that you lose David Baker from last year's teams. He was pretty much a do-it-all player for you last year, and you certainly want to replace the tenacity that he brought to the game, the aggressiveness. And it seems like going back to past years, when y'all made some of those state runs, you really had a good inside presence, going back to Jake Smith and some of those other kids that you had underneath to stay aggressive around the basket. So you think these kids that are going to be able to come up and step up into those post roles, that'll be able to provide that for you all?
Well, you'd like to think so. I mean, obviously you can't replace a David Baker. He's do it all, inside, outside guy, put you on your back and carry you. You're just not going to replace him. He's that good. And but I think our scoring could be more balanced. We'll see more. David led us to scoring almost every single game, and I think we'll be more balanced. It's just who's got the hot hand, and executing our offense is real important for us. We'll take what we can get in transition, but we generally want to play disciplined basketball to where we can get the shot and direct the shot we want. And, we work a lot on making sure that we're able to do that. And But I think these kids are going to step in nicely. You really don't know till you get rolling. You know, everybody's optimistic at this point of the year that their teams are going to be what they think they are. But until you get the ball rolling and things get going and get into your schedule, you really don't know where you stand. So, you know, I really think we got a shot to be a team to watch. But you know, everybody feels that way at this point of the year, and we're just going to have to go out and prove it and you know, work our tails off.
Yeah, and you'll be opening up your season with your own invitational tournament there in Bernie, getting underway this coming week. So that's always a good tournament to look at each year, especially with the smaller schools and where they're going to be matching up. So you got a competitive tournament to look forward to this week.
I think so. I mean, I think up and down it's going to be some great games in the tournament. So you know, people want to come out and watch some good basketball. It'll be a good place to go. It's going to be real competitive. Even you know, all the first round games I think should be competitive. So we're looking forward to hosting that and kicking it off next week.
Certainly, we'll be looking forward to that. And Brad, we appreciate you spending some time with us, and we'll be looking forward to the Bernie Mules once again this year. So we'll be seeing you down the road.
You bet. Thanks for your coverage, guys.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right, that's Brad Botsch with the Bernie Mules. He's really excited about his team, and he should be. And be looking forward to the Bernie Mules making another run this year.
Well, he coaches so hard, and he expects a lot out of his team, and they usually deliver for him. And depth is something, like he was saying, that makes it difficult on the coaches on how to get everybody the playing time they need and to find that right combination at different times during the games. But if you come in and you got 10 guys that can play, more power to you.
Yeah, I know what he's probably excited about, which if you know a Brad Botsch team, he really likes to play aggressive defense, full court, you know, really staying aggressive, and, you know, playing 10 players will allow you to play aggressive the whole game and not really let up.
Yeah, and he usually plays 7, 8, 9 players. I mean, that's he usually substitutes pretty regularly, and that's with the type of game they play, the aggressive type of defense they play. Pretty well need that. But if he's got 10 players that can play, he'll figure out the combinations.
Sure. Yeah, let's bring up the Bernie graphic that we can bring it up there. There's the Bernie Invitational Tournament to look forward to. Bernie and Campbell starting off the tournament there, the 1-8 game, the 4-5 games, Risco and Holcomb, the 3-6 games, Twin Rivers and Piggott, and Puxico taking on Bloomfield in that 2-7 game. So that's a tournament to look forward to this week. And Puxico is one of those teams to look out for this year.
Puxico is one of my sleepers this year. I listened to part of their game last night, and they played Van Buren at Van Buren in that shootout that Van Buren has, and Puxico was doubling up Van Buren. Puxico, my sleepers in Class 2 are Puxico and South Penn.
Yeah, I don't know if you can call South Penn a sleeper.
I don't. Well, they're not. You know, nobody's talking about them, but or haven't heard a whole lot of talk about them. But you know, they were pretty good last year. We saw their JV team in the Boot Hill Conference Championship, and they were pretty good. Of course, they have one of the best young coaches in Southeast Missouri, in Aaron Bidwell. South Penn's going to be good.
Yeah, we got a graphic on them. If we can bring that up, Caleb. South Pemiscot made it to the district championship, lost to Bernie last year in a thriller of a game in that district title, and they're going to bring back a competitive team. They did lose Seth Harris, all-conference player there last year, but 19-8, 19-9 district finalists, returning Anthony Primer, Logan Carter, Jacob Trammell, Jarvis Johnson, also Contrail Johnson. It's going to be a big player for them. So Anthony Primer's the main guy probably coming back this year.
Yeah, they lost Gilmore from that team last year. He's a pretty good player.
Yeah, Gilmore.
But yeah, Primer's their big guy coming back, but South Penn's going to be good.
Yeah, they've already got 2 victories already with Cooter and Campbell, sizable victories there, and the big matchup with Hayti coming up in a few weeks. That'll be looking.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. So South Pemiscot, you as a sleeper, I don't know if I.
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe they aren't as that much of a sleeper, but
But Puxico, that's certainly one to look forward to.
I think Puxico is going to be a pretty good team this year.
Yeah, and then you talk about the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. They're going to be in that, and they might be overlooked. Because they're really not. You don't. If you talk about the top 5 teams in that tournament, you don't ever.
You don't think about Puxico, and they could. They could get in there. They could be a middle. Middle of the pack seed, and beat some people.
Yeah.
But, and of course, South Bend's going to be among the top 5 teams, I think, in the tournament. But and I guess when I say South Bend as a sleeper, is that they haven't made a. They really came on at the end of last year. Before the end of last year, for the last 2 or 3 years before that, they didn't make much noise at all. But their program's really coming around.
Yeah, certainly is. Last year you could call them a sleeper.
Last year they were definitely a sleeper.
They were right there in the mix. But you say, well, they played Hayti in those semifinals, and you expected Hayti, as they were the number 1 seed in that tournament, to come out, but they pulled off that semifinal win to get into that championship and went right down to the wire between those 2 teams with Bernie. So certainly a sleeper last year, but
okay, I may be overstating them as a sleeper, but they're when you talk about really good teams in the district or in the area, that's usually not one of the teams that people first mention, but I think it will. It's going to be.
Yeah, certainly will. And we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to try to get another coach on the line, so don't go anywhere.
I chose Three Rivers College. Caring staff made it easy to enroll. I'm receiving affordable, quality college classes. Day, evening, and online classes let me work college into my schedule.
With locations throughout Southeast Missouri and over 200 course offerings, including online courses, Three Rivers can help you earn a college or career technical degree.
I chose Three Rivers College. You should too.
Enroll today. Learn more at trcc.edu. Three Rivers College. Success starts here.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
First Midwest Bank Gold Club offers special privileges for our friends who are age 50 or better and have combined deposits of $5,000. Members enjoy trips, cruises, seminars, and picnics along with free personalized bank services. Upcoming trips include Journey Through the Holy Land, Yellowstone in winter, Classic Ireland, and Hawaiian Paradise Cruise. Stop by any First Midwest Bank location to sign up for the Gold Club. It's absolutely free. First Midwest Bank, providing common sense financial solutions every day.
And we're now along with Philip Taylor, the basketball coach for the Hayti Indians. And Philip, it's good to have you back with us this year.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Sure. And Philip, you had pretty good years the past few years, of course, a couple years ago, making out to the state Final Four, coming away with 3rd place. And then last year, you're just one of those unfortunate teams that wasn't going to make it through that gauntlet of Class 2. So you certainly, not what you was hoping for last year, but still a good year to come away with the season you did.
Most definitely. Very pleased with what we've been able to do the past couple of years, and hopefully, we'll go into this year with the same mindset and continue to get better and try to make our way back to hopefully be a state champion. That's why we do it.
Sure. And let's talk a little bit about your team coming back. I know, first off, the big boys you've got, the Burden boys, Frankie and Brandon, those are the ones that are going to stand out because that's certainly an advantage your team has is those two big guys underneath.
Yes, our front line is pretty good with Frankie. Frankie's grown a little bit more this year. He had a very good summer for us. Brandon has worked hard this summer on some of the things that he needed to get better with. And then we also have coming back Demetrius Luster down low, who anybody who has seen us play or a tournament can pick him out very quickly.
Yeah, and Brandon we saw come up and play for the first time at the varsity level last year, and he was real physical, but you could tell he was young. He he didn't do a whole lot of scoring, but he provided a lot of energy. So you could tell he was young and he was going to make his way. Is he starting to really develop as a seasoned player under there?
He really is. He was more worried about rebounding. His scoring wasn't a deal to him, and that is something we worked on over the summer, getting him to learn how to put the ball in the hole in various situations, and he's really improved. I really like what I've been seeing in practice, and I'm really looking forward to the first game to see how much it pays off.
Philip, this is Terry McVey.
Yes, sir.
Who's going to get the ball to them? To the Burns and Luster. What guards are you going
to be the starter right now? Again, something we've been working on all summer. I also have Cedric Harris. Cedric was kind of a spot role player for us last year. A few people who keep up with track will know that he was third in the state last year in the 100. So he's a good guy to be able to bring the ball up the court.
Yeah.
And then we also have a kid that moved in who's under the radar right now, but people are going to figure him out real quick, named Indequel Presbury. He'll also bring it up when necessary.
And going back to last year, Philip, you had one of the best guards around in Mario Newbill, and he was a do-everything kind of player for you, handled the ball, made plays, and hit big shots. Certainly that's going to be a hard player to replace. You have a combination of players that you think that can step up and fill that role?
Well, listening to you talk to Brad earlier when he was talking about Baker, Newbill's the same way. He's not a kid that you can replace. He was the go-to guy. He did it all when we needed something to be done, and he did it. But I believe with what we have coming back with Demetrius Luster and Indequel and a couple other spot players here and there, I think we'll be okay.
And, you certainly, you'll have those guards that can really get after it, and you really get after it on defense, and, forcing those turnovers to get out in the open court. It seems like that's y'all's advantage when it goes up against your competition. So we can probably expect that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing these Burton kids. They were really fun to watch last year, and they were going to really develop over another year. So that'll be fun to watch those guys and seeing how all that comes together this year.
Most definitely. I am looking forward to it. I have a new assistant coach this year. Coach Chance took over the girls, and I have Ron Riddle, who is one of the assistants from Portersville. So defense has been even more of a priority. That's kind of his thing. So I'm really looking forward for people to see what we're doing on that side of the ball, other than just our transition run up down the floor. I really like. We've been putting in a lot of man-to-man, and I'm anxious to see how our kids do.
Certainly. And, the Class 2 is a gauntlet once again this year, Philip, when you talk about yourself there at Hayti, Bernie, South Pim, and there's another team we probably need to throw in there that we'll overlook. But it's going to be 4 or 5 teams there in Class 2 once again this year. And unfortunately there's going to be some teams watching when one team advances. So certainly you've got the players last year that experienced that, and they know what it's going to be like coming down to the end of the year. Are you confident that some of those players are going to have that hunger to make that run this year?
Well, I can tell you this. After last year, they had the hunger about a week after the season was over. They were ready to start and get in the gym, and so this is something we've been looking forward to for a while. We've been ready to get out and get going and see what happens. But you take it one game at a time, and like you said, our district is a gauntlet. There's a lot of good teams, and anything can happen on any night. For example, last year, Barney wins the district. We beat Barney at our place that year. We beat South Pim at South Pim, and South Pim knocks us out of the district tournament. So, you never know. You lace them up night after night, and we just go see what happens.
Certainly. It'll be fun to watch, and we'll be certainly looking forward to the team you put on the court this year. It'll be fun to watch, as the Hayti team usually always is, especially with the teams you've had here in the past few years. So, Terry, you'd like to add anything else?
No, Hayti always brings athleticism to the game, and curbing that athleticism and channeling towards basketball skills is always a challenge that Coach Taylor's had, and I think he's done an excellent job on that, especially the last few years. And and some of these kids have been in the state tournament, and Coach Taylor's been in the state tournament. And once you get a taste of that, you want to be back. And and they all have that hunger, and there's no reason why they can't.
Certainly. And Philip, we'll be looking forward to seeing what you put on the floor this year, and especially in that Bloomfield Christmas tournament coming up. It'll be fun to watch, and we'll be looking forward to the Hayti Indians once again this year.
All right. Thank you guys for all the coverage, and we appreciate everything you do for us.
Okay. Thanks, Philip. We'll see you down the road.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Okay. And there's Philip Taylor, and we haven't really talked about the Boot Hill Conference, and the Boot Hill Conference should be fun to watch. Kennett's getting out, Kennett's into the CMO Conference, but that'll probably make it a little bit more competitive for everyone else.
Yeah, Holcomb's in, but Crothersville's still there. Portageville, we haven't talked about Portageville, and they're always good.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they're going to be this year. They got A.V. Banks back, but I don't know what else they have returning. But
you got A.V. Banks and Caleb Gooch are their main returners.
Right.
So, and they lost quite a few seniors last year, so they're going to be a younger team, and they're going to take a few bumps. But by the end of the year, Jason Irby will certainly have that team ready to go for the conference.
But you have those teams, and Holcomb's in, Hayti, of course, Cena's still in. Cena's in the Boot Hill Conference, and they're starting to get something back. They've used a lot of freshmen played for Cena's last year, and Coach Heeb, and they've got a new coach, but they've got a really good time last year, so they're probably going to be improving. But when you got Hayti, Crothersville, South Penn, and Portageville, a small school conference, that's pretty good.
Yeah, certainly is. So. Seeing Holdersville, we didn't talk about them. They were a sleeper last year. They made some waves last year.
They made some waves last year. They were extremely young, and they made some waves, and they're going to make more this year.
Yeah, and Holcomb, had a storied season last year, feeding Kennett the district championship, the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament championship. Had a season for the school history. That's for sure. And they got bit by the flu bug last year right around district time, and they were one of those teams that were watching Bernie and South Penn playing that district championship, and you would maybe going in think Holcomb and Hayti was going to be in that district championship, but it ended up being Bernie and South Penn. But really no surprise. There was
that's how good that district is,
yeah,
and that's how good the district was last year, and it's going to be just as good this year. Holcomb's going to be down because they graduated everybody, and have a new coach. So they've got a new system, a new coach, and pretty much a new team. But they're going to be okay.
Yeah, they got Nathan Walk, I believe, Coach Walk.
Right.
That's taking over there. He's been an assistant at Twin Rivers. Right. He takes over there, and they still got the Reeves boy.
I believe that's what they have coming back.
I can't remember. Is it Aaron Reeves?
I can't.
I know it's Ryan Reeves. I'm getting them mixed up there. I think it's
the younger one.
Yeah, the younger one. Yeah. Yeah, you get the brothers and cousins in there.
Right. Got the younger one
coming back. Get them
he's good.
Yeah.
Good. So they have a good point.
Yeah.
They got a good point guard. But that's going to be different for Holcomb moving to the Boot Hill Conference, which is a bigger schools, probably a little deeper conference in the Tri-County.
Yeah.
And but that's how you get better.
Certainly.
Guys like Kennett moving to the CMO Conference. If you're going to be good, you got to play them.
Yeah,
and,
certainly do.
And that's how you get better.
I want to miss Kennett being in the CMO Conference or the Boot Hill Conference. You get those matchups with Portageville and Hayti and South Pemmican and even Crothersville. They're always good matchups, which they'll keep playing them in the regular season. But it's going to miss them playing those teams. But then again, they're playing in Class 4 now, and they're going to be going up against Cape and Notre Dame and Sykeston.
They're still playing most of those teams. I don't believe South Pem's on the schedule this year, but they're still playing Hayti and Crothersville and Portageville. In fact, they play Portageville pretty early in the season. I think the 20th maybe.
Yeah.
But they're still playing a lot of those teams. But of course, they moving up to Class 4 and into the CMO Conference. Of course, they have to expand their schedule. And Kennett's playing a pretty good schedule because, of course, they're playing Riverbend, and next Saturday they play Moberly in Columbia at the Coaches for Cancer shootout, and then 2 days later start the SEMO conference. So if you're going to be good, you got to play people.
Yeah, and especially playing in the district they're playing in at the end of the year.
And that district's loaded.
Yeah.
Of course, it's the Boot Hill. It's Boot Hill basketball. Yeah. The districts are loaded down here. Class 1, Class 2, Class 3. Look at the districts. The districts are loaded down here, and that's Boot Hill basketball, and that's the way it ought to be, and that's the way it has been for years and years, and that's the way it's going to be because people like basketball here, and we play good basketball, and the teams are good, and you come out of one of the districts down here, you've got a pretty good shot to go to state, or to go to the Final Four. Certainly. So. It's going to be a great year to watch once again. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to try to bring back our schedule that we're going to be doing here on YHC and SemoSportsZone.com. So we'll be back with that coming up.
It's the small things in life that you tend to appreciate. The quality of care at SEMO Health Network is no different. They focus on the small details with healthcare that make you feel good, so you can get back to enjoying the small things in no time. They have so many ways to take care of you with 8 locations serving rural communities in need of medical care, including dental facilities and an in-house laboratory.
You'll feel good about this. SEMO Health Network.
And we're back, and we're going to finish with some games that we're going to be covering here on YHC TV and SemoSportsZone.com. The games we'll be broadcasting this year. And take a look at those games we'll be doing. Starting off with the Bernie Invitational Tournament Finals this coming Friday, December 6th, down there, Bernie, the tournament we were talking about. We're going to cover that tournament final from Bernie. That'll be live here on Channel 21 as well as SemoSportsZone.com. So you can look forward to that tournament final this coming Friday here on YHC. And following that Tuesday, we got Malden at Gideon. And the 13th, on Friday, we got Hayti at Portageville. We'll bring that live to you from Portageville. Tuesday the 17th, Kennett at Malden. That'll be live. On the 19th, Hayti at Holcomb. Friday the 20th, Portageville at Kennett. We bring that live to you from Kennett. On the 26th through the 30th, that's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday this year, the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament, all 26 games live from Bloomfield. And also on the 3rd, January 3rd, Harrisburg at Piggott. They'll be live from Piggott. On January 6th, New Madrid County Central at Malden. That'll be brought live. The 7th, Prairieville at Dexter. 10th, Holcomb at Campbell. 14th, Risco at Clarkton. The 16th, East Prairie at Clarkton. The 17th, Bernie at Dexter. The 20th, Bernie at Holcomb. The 21st, Bernie at Bloomfield. The 24th, New Madrid County Central at Dexter. The 27th, Gideon at Portageville. The 28th, we've got Gideon at Risco. The 31st, the Stoddard County Activities Association Varsity and JV Finals Night. That's 4 games, 3rd place and finals from Dexter. And February 4th, Marmaduke at Rector. the 7th Boot Hill Conference Finals, varsity and JV. Those 2 games from Campbell that night, live from Campbell. On February 11th, Hayti at Bernie. The 13th, Piggott at Rector. The 14th, Dexter at Kennett. The 17th, Poplar Bluff at Dexter for the girls. On the next night, Tuesday, the 18th, we got Poplar Bluff at Dexter for the boys. The 20th, Scott County Central at New Madrid County Central. The 21st, Bernie at Sykeston. The 24th, girls, Jackson at Dexter. And the 27th, girls, Sykeston at Dexter. And, of course, we'll be doing some district and state tournament games, which will be determined later on in February and March. So those are the games to look forward to this year, and another great schedule ahead.
And I just want to say what a service this station does. I know I feel a part of this station and contribute, but this station really does a service to the people of Southeast Missouri who like basketball. And I get people that come up to me and tell me thanking you all for what you all do at YHC for bringing all these games and broadcasting, especially the live broadcasts that we have. It's a service to the people of this area, and when you consider where we started, it's gone a long way for the better, and that's a good schedule of games. There's lots of good games there, games that I want to see.
Yeah, and you either go to them or watch them on TV, either one. So we'll be looking forward to another great season this year. And there's only just a few games that we won't be broadcasting live this year. We've really made some efforts to bring the live games to you here on Channel 21 and online through YHCTV.com and SemoSportsZone.com. I think there's right now a definitive, 1 or 2 games that we won't do live. There's a few of those we're in between whether we'll be able to or not, but almost all of our schedule now is brought live, and it's a testament to New Wave Communications, what they've done to help us here at our station, and what we've tried to kind of bridge the gap, and what they haven't been able to provide for us, that we try to go and get the means to bring the games live to you ourselves. So a lot more to come, and we're going to try to maybe slot in some more SEMO conference games online on SemoSportsZone.com along with those games. We're still working on which games to do. Probably come January and February for those games in the SEMO Conference. So probably some more games to be viewed online as well. So another great season ahead, and we'll get underway next Friday night from Bernie. Should be a good tournament final to start out the season.
Yeah, well, we're looking at 1-2 season Bernie Puxico. Whoever comes in that championship game, it's a good way to start the season.
Sure, and we always like that. It's always a packed crowd. That first tournament, everybody's really geared up for it, especially for the finals, and it'll be a packed crowd in Bernie, that's for sure.
It will. It will.
So a lot to look forward to this year. And Tommy Jenkins didn't get to join us today. He come up with little sniffles, which I got him myself, so he don't have that big an excuse.
Yeah, you really ought to be here, Tommy.
Yeah. He's watching at home, so
you would have stopped me from calling South Penn a sleeper.
Yeah, he would have chimed in on that.
Yeah, if you'd have stopped me there, I'd probably jumped in and said, well, Sykeston is a sleeper too. So.
Tommy's been great for us the past few years. He especially the Hayti.
Oh, well, 2 years ago when he started talking about how good Hayti is going to be, and we all thought, well, Tommy's finally lost it, and then comes out Hayti goes to the Final Four.
Yeah, he would have had another prognostication for us. We would have liked that, but Tommy's going to be on board with us this year, doing some games with us this year, and we always enjoy having him with us for our games. So I look forward to Tommy doing some games with us this year, and Terry's going to be along with us once again this year, and Terry's ready to go.
I'm ready. I missed too much last season. I'm really ready for this one.
Well, Terry's really been through the works when it comes to health issues, so he's ready to go.
I'm more than ready.
He's got it behind him. You've watched a lot of games on TV.
I've watched a lot of games on TV over the last year. Last winter I got to see lots of games on TV.
So we're ready to go once again this year, and it'll be fun once again.
It will be. We'll have a ball.
Yeah, we'll certainly will. So hopefully you'll join us through this year. We got a lot of games to bring to you, and then we'll be here on the round table each Saturday morning and for the replays, of course. And hopefully you'll join us. And until next week, hopefully you enjoyed this preview, and we'll see you down the road. Take care.